Straight ahead, time for a change. New bills filed at the Texas Legislature would end the practice of changing your clocks. Are you tired of falling back and springing ahead?
I'm tired of the time change. Everybody's tired of the time change.
One-on-one, we speak with the new Speaker of the Texas House, Dustin Burrows. A wide-ranging interview from public education funding to property tax relief and whether the state is doing enough to protect the public during a measles outbreak. And presidential address. President Trump discusses tariffs, budget cuts, and more before Congress, while Texas Democrat is censured after disrupting the speech. Good Sunday morning to you. I'm Jack Fink. Get your fix for Texas politics. Eye on Politics starts now. Hello and welcome to Eye on Politics. We lost an hour of sleep. Did you forget to move your clock 1 hour forward? A lot of people say they are sick of doing it. Now there's new legislation filed in Texas that would end that requirement. We'll get to that in just a bit, but first, can we talk a little bit about the sun? What exactly is the difference between daylight saving time, which we're now in, and standard time, which we were just previously in? Sarah Jenkins starts us off with this week's brief.
Daylight saving time began in 1918 to conserve energy during World War I. It starts on the second Sunday in March, causing 1 hour of sunlight to be moved from the morning to the evening. The practice is intended to give people the opportunity to take advantage of daylight during months when the weather is typically warmer. On the first Sunday in November, clocks go back 1 hour at 2 a.m. to standard time. That means the sun will appear to rise and set a little earlier when the weather is typically colder. Bills for permanent daylight saving and standard time have been introduced in several states, including Texas. The Texas State Legislature could pass a bill to make permanent standard time, but would need Congress to approve making daylight saving time permanent. This is because of the Uniform Time Act of 1966, which governs time zones nationwide. In 2023, the U.S. Senate passed Senator Marco Rubio's proposed bill, the Sunshine Protection Act, to establish permanent daylight saving time, but the bill didn't pass in the House. Senator Patty Murray has reintroduced the bill this year.
We went to Clyde Warren Park in downtown Dallas to see what some of you think.
Why do we have daylight savings time? Is the reason historic, that we want to remember what it was like when we were in agricultural times? I mean, I haven't understood why we still have it.
I feel like time should stay the same all the time, honestly, if you ask me. I feel like time doesn't ever change.
I think I'd rather just keep it the way it is, I mean, I would be open to trying out what the other option they have is, but I don't know until you try it.
Before taking office, President Trump spoke out about daylight saving time. He posted on his Truth Social account December 14th that, quote, "The Republican Party will use its best efforts to eliminate daylight saving time, which has a small but strong constituency, but shouldn't. Daylight saving time is inconvenient and very costly to our nation." But a few days ago, he was asked if he would issue an executive order to get rid of daylight saving time, and he seems to have changed his mind.
I assume people would like to have more light later, but some people want to have more light earlier because they don't want to take their kids to school in the dark. It's something I can do, but a lot of people like it one way, a lot of people like it the other way. It's very even, and usually I find when that's the case, what else do we have to do?
As I mentioned, some Texas lawmakers have filed bills this session that would keep the time the same all year round. One of those lawmakers is Republican State Senator Mays Middleton of Galveston.
This would just say, look, we're just not going to change our clocks anymore. It would do permanent standard time, which is also what President Trump has proposed recently. And then this bill basically would conform with our federal legislative requirements where we're allowed as a state to vote into permanent standard time. And so that's what this bill would do. It would eliminate daylight savings time and put us on one time for the whole year, and you never have to change your clocks again, because that is the one thing everybody agrees with on this is please, we don't want to change our clocks anymore.
So what's the other bill?
Yeah, so I actually filed the other one, which is permanent daylight savings time. And you know, I kind of did that to see where's the level of support for each, and it's been pretty clear to me that the vast majority of support is for permanent standard time, which is the time that we're on right now.
Right.
So in other words, we would not spring forward here this coming week. I filed both just because at the end of the day, what I really want to have happen, no more time change. I'm tired of the time change. Everybody's tired of the time change.
Bills have been filed for years.
For many years, yeah.
Here at the legislature, as you said earlier, and they don't even get a hearing. And so I'm wondering, they're referred to state affairs, and so have you had conversations with Senator Hughes about getting this heard?
Yes, absolutely. I did today. He wants to hear these bills and this legislation. People, I think, would be pretty grateful to know that there's at least a chance. You know, we got to pass the bill, but a chance that this could be the last time that they ever have to change their clocks if we can get this done this session.
We'll keep you up to date on this issue. Coming up, I'll head into the studio and our one-on-one conversation with new Texas Speaker Dustin Burrows about public school funding, school choice, property tax relief, and the measles outbreak when Eye on Politics comes right back. Welcome back to Eye on Politics, now one-on-one with the new Texas Speaker, Republican Dustin Burrows of Lubbock. We sat down with him Wednesday and we discussed the measles outbreak in Texas, property tax relief, along with school choice and public school funding, specifically $9 billion that's been proposed in the House to inject into schools.
This is actually money that we're going to be putting into the classroom. This is real dollars, new dollars that our teachers, our educators, our families are going to feel in there. It is the largest school finance bill in the history of Texas, even after adjusting for inflation.
And I wanted to ask you about HB3, the school choice bill. You've said the votes are there, the momentum is there. Do you personally support it? And I know the Speaker doesn't often vote that much on bills, but is this a bill that you would be willing to vote for? And just as far as the differences that there are between the House and the Senate versions, how significant are they?
Well, Jack, I have been personally supportive of it. I do believe expanding education opportunities for families is a good thing. It is a bill that has tremendous momentum behind it. It has tremendous support across all demographics, and I do believe it's going to pass this session. I've been very outspoken about that.
Do you think you'll vote for it?
I think at the end of the day, I'm going to be voting and supporting it.
Let me ask you about property tax relief, because we've seen again these different versions in the House and the Senate. The Senate passed, homestead exemptions, boosting those. I haven't seen that out of the House side. Is that something you're considering? And if not, are we going to see this big fight like we saw 2 years ago between the House and the Senate?
So, Jack, I mean, the House historically, even before my speakership, has always preferred compression. But it's early March. We're having good communications with the Senate. We're going to continue those conversations. I think by the end of the May, we're going to have some resolution. We're going to have some compromise and work together. One of the things I'd like to point out is we're also having a small business tax cut. That is for every small business in the state of Texas. And when they save their money, that is real investment they can make in expanding their employees, growing their business, and we're going to see the Texas economy supercharged from that particular targeted tax cut. We're very, very proud of it, and I think that the Senate's going to like it as well.
That's the business property tax cut?
That's House Bill 9.
And what impact do you think that will have?
So again, if you look at our Texas economy, it's great. People are moving here, and you look at the economic engine, it is our small businesses. I mean, that's everything from a hair salon to a doctor's office to all the small businesses throughout the entire state. And all of them pay these small business taxes. When we give them some of their money back, when we save them money, that is real capital they have, working capital, money they invest in employees, expanding their businesses, acquiring new tools to do their jobs more efficiently. So I think those targeted tax cuts are only going to continue to make our economy hotter.
Also, one of the major reforms that the Senate has passed that the governor has called for is bail reform. And is this something that you support? And there are 100 votes needed, I guess, to get it to the voters to change the Texas Constitution. And is that something where you would lean on your Democratic committee vice chairs and your Democratic subcommittee chairs if necessary?
So personally, I do see the need for it. We're going to have that conversation. The committee is going to hear those bills. It does take 100 votes. It's why working across the aisle is so important. Many of the big things we do does require working across the aisle. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to find a solution. We're going to find the 100 votes that are necessary, but we're going to work to get those. And it may take a little bit to figure out all of how to get that done, but we're going to continue working with all of our colleagues to try to find the right and responsible thing to do.
Measles. We're seeing the largest outbreak in Texas in 30 years, and most of them in Gaines County, which is in your region. And why are we seeing so many people deciding not to get the measles vaccine for their children? And do you think the state needs to do more to encourage people to get the vaccine?
So, Jack, I haven't had a chance to actually figure out what community within Gaines County it is. And there's some very different communities in Gaines County. I don't know exactly. I'm pretty sure we know, but they haven't identified where it's coming from. That all being said, look, the state of Texas is doing a good job. We are bringing the vaccines over to the county. We're bringing them over to the epicenter of it and making sure people have the resources and tools they need to get the vaccinations and obviously deal with the illness that's already there.
How concerned are you that it is spreading?
So I think that we're doing what we need to be done at this point in time. I continue to monitor the situation, and I believe we're going to have it under control.
The Delivery of Government Efficiency Committee held its first meeting today. It may still be going on. And I'm wondering, why was this an important committee for you to set up in the first place? And how much waste are you anticipating finding in state government?
I'm so excited about this committee. And it is currently meeting actually while you and I are talking, so I haven't had a chance to see what it is. Chairman Capriglione is one of the smartest members in the Texas Legislature. I think he rivals the head of the DOGE committee at the federal level as far as his intellect. I'm excited to see what he actually can do. And this is a bipartisan issue. Nobody wants waste, fraud, and abuse. Nobody wants their government wasting tax dollars. I think GEO, through just smart governance, asking tough questions, looking at things, technology is going to find lots of different ways to save taxpayer money, and I'm excited to see and unpackage all the things that he comes up with and the committee comes up with as far as recommendations. And I think it's right and appropriate as this conversation's happening, not just in Texas, but across the entire country.
We did see a controversy over the Texas Lottery Commission and these sales using third-party couriers. Where are you on this? And I know the Senate last week voted to stop that practice. And so where are you on this? And some lawmakers actually want to abolish the lottery altogether.
Couple of things. I mean, there was a lot going on with the courier services that many of us did not know about. There seems to be a lot of conversation about stopping that practice. I think the Lottery Commission is stopping it, so I think that's probably going to be one of those things. As far as the lottery, look, it's under sunset right now. The committee is still, getting ready to actually have their sunset bill go forward, and I think the opportunity for all members to weigh in on this is going to be very important this session.
Up next, we'll go beyond the headlines, from President Trump's speech to a joint session of Congress and the political fallout after Texas Congressman Al Green is censured for disrupting the speech. All that when Eye on Politics returns. Vice President J.D. Vance made his first trip to Texas in his new role. He, along with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, visited the border in Eagle Pass. They met with Governor Greg Abbott, Attorney General Ken Paxton, and Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller, among others. The Vice President credited the President's policies for lowering the number of migrants entering the U.S. down to about 8,400 last month, the lowest in 25 years. In the region where they held the news conference, the Vice President said they now only have about 30 people enter illegally each day, which is down from 1,500 a day.
We know the border problem, the border crisis under Biden's administration was a national crisis, but it acutely affected the communities right here. Local mayors who are still dealing with the budgetary consequences of what the Joe Biden administration allowed to happen at the American southern border, and that, too, is something that President Trump is going to help address.
Their visit came on the day after President Trump addressed a joint session of Congress, his first during his second term. Democratic Congressman Al Green of Houston was censured by the House after being accused of disrupting the speech and being escorted out. Afterwards, Congressman Green had this to say on the House floor.
The President of the United States, at a joint session of Congress, called members of Congress lunatics. That was an act of incivility. There comes a time when you cannot allow the president's incivility to take advantage of our civility.
Democrats in the U.S. House were quick to respond to Green's censure and criticize Republicans.
Republicans are playing political and partisan games with their censure resolutions because they are on the run. Republicans are on the run with respect to the economy.
It's really because Republicans they're very thin-skinned and they're very sensitive and their feelings are very easily hurt, and so they have to vote on censure resolutions.
Among the topics President Trump discussed, tariffs. Last week, the president announced a 25% tax on goods imported from Mexico and Canada, the additional 10% onto the existing 10% on products imported from China. Beginning April 2nd, the president will impose reciprocal tariffs on products from all other countries.
If you don't make your product in America, however, under the Trump administration, you will pay a tariff, and in some cases, a rather large one. Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades, and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries.
Since his speech, the president gave a one-month exemption to the auto industry related to the tariffs involving Mexico and Canada. He also exempted goods from Mexico and Canada that have been duty-free and have complied with the United States-Mexico-Canada trade agreement he signed during his first term. We spoke with North Texas Republican Congressman Roger Williams, a small business owner, about the tariffs, Al Green's censure, and other issues.
Well, my reaction was, I thought to myself, what in the heck are you doing, Al? He continued to do it, and of course the sergeant-at-arms came and they escorted him out after the speaker said it was time, gave him every opportunity to sit down and quit waving that cane that he had.
Do you intend to vote to censure Congressman Green?
Absolutely, I do. It's not the kind of action that you want in the people's house.
I also want to ask you about one of the topics that was discussed. A lot of people are talking about it, and that's tariffs. As you know, Texas is the largest export state in the United States by far, and business owners have expressed concerns about potential lower profits, job cuts, higher prices. So what do you say to them about the tariffs?
Because as you know, I'm in the automobile business, so I'm going to be affected by tariffs if they actually go in. I think the president has been using them as a wedge. We already see some countries beginning to reduce their tariffs. I think we have to do something about this trade imbalance. There's no reason America should not be the leader, the builder of, rather than the buyer of. So, frankly, I'm not worried about tariffs. I'm not scared of tariffs, even though I'm in the automobile business. I think what you could see, if you could see the cost of goods sold rise a little bit, but we're going to couple that too with tax cuts and regulation cuts. People have a little bit more money to spend on what they want to spend. But I think at the end of the day, you take small business owners that have inventories that are going to be affected, we'll find a way to sell our inventory. And the fact of the matter is, if tariffs raise a widget or a truck or something a little higher than what the customer can afford, we will discount those prices. And quite frankly, a customer might be able to buy a product for less with the tariffs than he could before the tariffs.
How so?
Well, because businesses will discount their product to sell it, to get it off the shelf.
Trump tax cuts from 2017 are set to expire this year, and Democrats have said that this would basically help billionaires at the expense of working class people. What's your reaction to that?
Tax cuts are for everybody, and the tax cuts work, and we're going to make them permanent. You know, I ran on tax cuts all the way back in 2012. We ran on in 2016. I run on them every year because tax cuts put more money in the hands of businesses. It lets you hire more people, create more workforce, create more opportunity, create more taxpayers.
Do you support Governor Abbott's request for Congress to reimburse Texas the $11 billion that the state has spent during the Biden administration to secure the border? And do you see this actually happening?
Well, first of all, that's my bill. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but Governor Abbott talked to me about it. That's the number he and I came up with, and that's my bill, and we filed the bill, and I think it should pass. I mean, Texans stepped up, the governor stepped up and spent over $11 billion when that's money the government should have spent.
Now an update about a federal government employee from North Texas who lost her job as part of the mass firings by the Trump administration. Haley Denzler, who works for the EPA, has been rehired and is receiving back pay. She told us last month that she believed it was a mistake because she was no longer a probationary employee. Denzler has also received now a promotion. Members of Congress, Texas leaders, and many in Houston are in mourning after the sudden passing of Democratic Congressman Sylvester Turner. He died early Wednesday morning at his home in Washington at the age of 70. Turner went to the hospital late Tuesday night after attending President Trump's speech. Turner began his new role in Congress in January after serving as mayor of Houston and as a state representative from the city for 27 years. He's being remembered as a remarkable public servant. And remember, you can watch all our full interviews from today's show on our YouTube channel. Go to CBS Texas and hit the subscribe button. And that's all for a jam-packed Eye on Politics today. I'm Jack Fink. I am listening, and we are listening to you at CBS News Texas. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. From all of us here, have a great day.